Welcome, everyone, to a special episode of the Buck Stops here, the official program of NotInHallOfFame.com. I'm Kirk Buchner, along with Chris Mouradian. Chris, how you doing?
I'm good today. How you doing?
Not too bad, but look at this here. I tripped, and then it's giving me a nice little rectangle bump over what I actually hit. I didn't know that would lead to a shiner below, so it's like I pissed off Anthony Joshua or something.
I was gonna say something about that, but you know,
I think it makes me look sexy.
hey, I've always heard chicks dig scars, so I think you're in good company there.
Yeah, I just wish I had a better story.
The story is what you tell.
Like,
It's how you tell it.
well, that concrete was coming after me something fierce, and let me tell you, you should see the concrete.
Exactly.
Yeah. But this is sort of I don't want to call it an emergency show, but the Basketball Hall of Fame has announced, well, just the people they consider. They don't call it a preliminary list. And there's about 200 people fanning 200 categories. The North American category, which is essentially people who contributed in the NBA and relatively over the last 30 years. I have to say relatively because we don't know the cutoff.
Well, I did find something on that, but we can talk about that later.
Okay, then you
Yeah.
know more than I do because I'd like to hear it because I think I found two that don't
Supposedly what
okay.
the rules are.
Supposedly, okay. Well, we have the women's category. We've got the contributors category, although there's some people in the contributors category who might be better off as players, and then vice versa. The whole thing's kind of a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Uh, the international category, which, by the way, Chris, all the candidates who were put forth this year are the exact same as last year.
Really?
Identical. It's almost like I'm the only one who cared. But yeah. So they have the international, some really interesting candidates there. I'm going to do a deep dive on that in a separate.
Yeah. Control C, Control V. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. And then the men's veterans and the women's veterans. They used to be like for the international and the veterans committees, they used to be direct elect. Mm-hmm. Whoever they came up with automatically went through. That got changed. I don't know when, I don't know why, and I don't know by whom. And the Basketball Hall of Fame, despite the high popularity of basketball, though you and I and Dave Whitlock and a few other people who have sort of like done shows with myself and yourself, well, basketball isn't what it used to be in terms of popularity, but nevertheless, the Basketball Hall of Fame, you would think, would be more popular than it is because they've done two things perfect almost. One thing is they figured out, hey, let's start this early. So they started in 1959. So it's not like when you and I are going to be talking about this or anybody else, any hoops fan can say like, oh my God, so-and-so isn't in and have 100 people agree with them right there on the spot. The second thing they do, actually, I think they do this better than anybody. They know when to promote. The finalists are going to come out every single year during NBA All-Star Weekend when everyone's talking about basketball. Perfect. When do they announce the actual class? During the Final Four, when everyone's talking about basketball. Beyond that.
Well, I think they could do one thing better with regard to that the timing there.
Oh, what's up?
This first release or whatever.
Okay.
They drop it on Friday afternoon in the middle of December. Why not wait a week and release it on Christmas Day when it's supposedly one of your big promotion days with all the games? And
that's a good idea. I never thought of that. Yeah. I like that.
I mean, Friday afternoon is where news gets dumped that they don't want people to see because people going into the weekend, they're not paying attention. That's just kind of a known thing with like news releases. So if you see a press release on a Friday afternoon, it's usually something they're trying to hide. Why would you drop this on a Friday afternoon?
Maybe it's something they're trying to hide.
Looking at the list,
well, do we want to talk
about better
the list? Because I don't know that we have enough time because we're going to be recording the shows back to back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the list anyways.
All right, so let's look at the North American nominees, and we're not going to go through all of them, but I'm just going to go through them. And one other criticism that I have personally, and this is just my own personal bugaboo. Other people might not feel the same way about it, but whenever I notice that a lot of press releases come out about Halls of Fame, they'll do a quick one from the actual site, be it, let's say, I don't know, because I'm wearing a South Carolina t-shirt, South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame. And then they'll sort of like have something on their website, and then they'll have a click through where you can learn all about who all these people are.
Yes.
Well, here's about 200 people, and they don't tell you about a lot of these. And let's be blunt, Chris. I mean, like you and I, we've had a great conversation with a lot of people involved with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A lot of people who were not too proud to say that they weren't that familiar with Ralph Hay, who was the man who was the mastermind behind creating the behind creating the NFL.
NFL, yep.
Yeah. But then once you learn about it, it's like, how did this slip by us?
Yeah, why is he not one of the charter members of the Hall of Fame?
Exactly. So we have here 200 people, and I don't care who's running this or how they're deciding this. If you're just sort of like putting out a bunch of names, nobody's going to go through this. People who are sort of like commenting on that are going to cherry pick the big names. Not going to do any kind of deep dives to see why these other people are here. And in a lot of cases, it's like, oh my God, why was this person never considered before? Or who the hell is this guy? Or I think you have him in the wrong category. Or who actually is he? Because there's at least a couple of people I don't know.
I looked up Marcus Hauptmann. Buddy. I found out who Marcus Hauptmann is. I found out who Sheldon Williams is.
Okay. Yep.
I have no idea why they're there. No offense to either of them. They obviously both have had much greater basketball careers than either you or I would ever dream of having.
We're both a combined 7 feet. So
yes. But okay, Marcus Hauptmann.
We're just looking at the North American candidates right now.
Well, so he's in the North American candidate.
No, I'm just saying, like, are we just gonna?
Yeah, let's just stick with them to start with here. So, Division II, Division III player, had played on some good teams, was a really strong player, but the majority of his contributions to basketball have been in Africa, Cape Verde. Why is he with North American? And if his contributions are international?
That's a fantastic question. I mean, I have all this from what I wrote down alphabetically. So,
oh yeah, I'm sorry. He was the most obvious one to me.
Good, but like a couple of things, like somebody who's on the ballot for the first time, like Jamal Crawford was a great player, 3-time Sixth Man of the Year. Jamal Crawford is not going to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Shawn Kemp's not here now. Granted, he's had some issues, so I can see why he's not here.
But compared to Scott Skiles.
Oh, okay, Scott Skiles. I think a lot of basketball fans knew who Scott Skiles is because he had a longish career playing, a longish career coaching, but he would be a first ballot candidate for someone who's been in basketball for 20 years.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Michigan State Hall of Fame. Okay. Go back to his college days where
and he wouldn't even be first ballot of that.
He'd be fighting Shawn Respert.
Well, I mean, the headline here is going to be Blake Griffin. Well,
from the North American side,
the male headliner, because if they're going to put this, however they're going to present it, I mean, I think there's 2 bigger names who were better players in their division and category than Blake is. Did you see the presentation or the announcement on ESPN2?
I do not get ESPN.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you do that on purpose. Okay.
Fuck Disney.
All right. Well, based on, and I do contribute to the House of the Mouse, but it's part of what I do, though. I
get it. Yeah,
okay. I know. But so I did watch it on ESPN2, and they just sort of like did that part of their regular hour-long basketball show on midday.
Sure.
And they only really profiled a handful of people. And of the North American category, they only talked about Blake Griffin.
It seems kind of obvious where they're leading you to then.
Well, I mean, again, I don't know if they have any direction. We don't know whether that's sort of a push, inside information, no information, or the only one that's like, well, he's the only one on this list everyone here remembers and knows, which might be the more likely case if I want to
very
pick
well
off
could
a
be.
conspiracy hat.
Yeah,
But but a lot of this, they did this to themselves. And guys, I know I'm all over the place. I'm probably going to be doing this again with Evan on Monday because we're going to be recording our regular Hall of Fame show. But I know I dragged Chris down the rabbit hole. He says, look, we got to talk about this. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I've been of the opinion, and this is probably why, if they actually do any research on me, they will not ever approve a press pass for me at the Hoop Hall. I know they're broke. They have to be broke. They've changed their eligibility requirements from 6 years to 5, and then 5 to 3, and then 3 to 2. Each one, so that they can expedite somebody getting in. Because basically they need the money. They're renovating.
Yeah.
From what I can find, they only draw 150,000 people a year. That's not good.
No, because I'm going to guess the majority of those people are on induction day.
Don't know. I don't know, but that's their big revenue day, obviously, is charging tickets for that, I guess, in their facility, which I haven't been there, but it looks like a very nice facility from everything.
Yeah, unique design to it with the shape and everything.
Yeah. And they're a non-for-profit, which is a good thing because they're clearly not making one. So I'm offering you my help.
Yeah.
I am at zero cost to you. No. At minimal cost to you. And you get Chris.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Be happy to help.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's sort of why now they're facing another thing where they're going to have to try to sell a bunch of tickets with Blake Griffin as the headliner. And I like Blake. The media likes Blake. Blake seems like a likable dude. If you saw him at the Comedy Central roast, he was amazing. He did fantastic. Great delivery, does good in commercials. He's got a presence. Blake Griffin is not going to sell out that thing.
No, unfortunately not. No, he's a very fine player. He had a great start to his career. You know, he had to miss his rookie year, or his first year, I guess, because he was able to win Rookie of the Year. It's just technically his second year, but you know, part of that Lob City team out there, and with the Clippers, made his name out there with Chris Paul, and yeah, you know, he was a fun player to watch. He was, as you mentioned, he had great presence, and he is probably the most obvious selection from the North American side of things here.
Yeah, this will be a good ballot for Penny Hardaway, who's been a finalist before, who's made the next. I could see him sort of like getting that attention.
Yeah.
An interesting first-year candidate's Joe Johnson, 7 All-Stars. Joe Johnson was really never a top 10 guy. I think he finished 10th once in MVP voting. But, you know, Kevin Johnson's another interesting one.
Yeah, KJ is one I was happy to see back on here again. Him and Buck Williams are my two that I'm kind of pulling for. Buck was finalist last year, didn't make it over the finish line.
Yeah.
But he's back this year. Hopefully he's able to stick it this year, and you know, it's a good battle for him if there's, you know, a thing such as momentum with this haul.
Sure. We don't know.
No idea.
Well, here's an interesting one. Maurice Lucas. Oh, well, no, actually, I skipped myself. Maurice Lucas is another person.
That's a candidate. That's a questionable one because here's, from what I could find.
Yeah.
Veterans Committee, which is, you know, kind of like your seniors committee, is basically players that have been eligible for 35 years or more. Maurice Lucas has been eligible, well, not eligible, I guess, retired for 35 years or more. Retired in 1988. But yeah, he's on the North American Committee. Marcus Johnson retired in 1990. He's on the Veterans Committee.
Exactly. And nobody knows why. I've messaged them. Would you like to know my reply?
Let's see if I can. How's that? Did I get it?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, there was no reply. Yeah, perfect. That was perfect. Yeah. As I believe it was Genesis, there was no reply at all. No reply at all.
And the thing is, Marcus Johnson was a finalist the last couple of years, and now he's in the senior veterans committee.
Well, and you can't even say because unless they bring back direct elect, and maybe and they're not telling us,
Yeah,
then that way you get to shoehorn him in, put him in the back entrance.
perhaps. That could be a thought.
But again, we don't know how many, who is it, other than I think I told you about that. There was this great in putting this in air quotes, ESPN article where they said, okay, we're going to unlock the mystery of the Basketball Hall of Fame. All it was 15 paragraphs about just trust us.
Yeah. It's at this point, it's got to be intentional that they don't want anybody to know what the process is, who's part of the process, how players are put on the ballot, what ballot they fall onto. They seem to have made it very clear with their press releases, with their promotion of their nominees, things like that. They don't want you to know. They just, as you said, trust us, bro.
Or they just not prepared to do it, or they don't have the funds to do it, or they don't have an intern. I don't know what it is. Like Brandon Roy's on this ballot.
Yeah, he's actually somebody I thought was a very interesting candidate.
Sure, Brandon Roy had a great start to his career, but it basically ended
with his knees.
Yeah, before I think last year he was 28.
Yeah, so his knees gave out on him. He was trending to a very strong Hall of Fame style career.
But it's not like he was Pistol Pete or anything who had that amazing college career and then everything.
He didn't have the pre that, like you mentioned there, but if you want to look at him as somebody who has a lot of accolades in a short period of time with not a real, okay, he didn't burn bright and then kind of just hang around for 15 years. He burned bright and he basically had to pull the pin because of injury.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth he's somebody that I actually was kind of happy to see on here. And if there was actually any kind of debate to understand what a committee might think about his career, we'll never know.
Well, and then there's a couple of people who we've already talked about that. Buck Williams, I think we're happy about. Amari Stoudemire, who gets no love from people who vote on my site because you're one of the ranked players. I must have a lot of people who just hate the Knicks or thought he was a bust in New York. Amari was good, boys. I don't know how you guys are hating on Amari like that. But then we've got who we talked about, Scott Skiles and Sheldon Williams.
Yeah. Skiles,
yeah, okay. Would he even make a Hall of Fame if we're saying, okay, to qualify, you've got to be SS. Is your monogram? Is he even I'm not sure who the first player would be, but
I don't know. No All-Star games, no championships, no player of the year, no MVP votes, no six-man votes, no defensive votes.
Not a Hall of Famer, period.
Not a Hall of Famer. Same with Mike Jaminski. Same with Sheldon Williams.
Yeah, and
I mean, Robert Horry won 7 championships, or was on 7 championship teams.
Rob. Yeah.
But he wasn't like the driving force behind any of those championships.
No, it's interesting. And then we could go through all the people who aren't here.
Like Horace Grant or LaMarcus Aldridge or Andre Iguodala or AC Green, Mark Jackson, Shawn Kemp.
Well, Iguodala, right? I mean, like, so Iguodala's not here, but Crawford is. Like, who was the better sixth man? I think overall we know who had the better career. The guy with the MVP finals.
Horace Grant was actually a strong contributing member to both teams that won all those championships.
Absolutely. It's very interesting. I know they try to combine all aspects of basketball, levels, pro, college, even high school for that matter. But there's a lot of people they left out for a lot of people they put in. And I don't know, other than maybe it's one group of people throwing a bunch of shit at a wall, seeing what's going to stick. Because we don't know.
No, we don't. We don't know.
Well,
what I do know is that there's more coaches than players on the ballot.
The only one I see there's two have really good shots. Mark Few, who I
Okay.
think belongs. Someone who the longer it takes, the harder it's going to be is Doc Rivers.
Jack Rivers doesn't belong. I don't. I'm sorry, but no,
Top
the other one I'll throw out there. Well, actually, there's two of them I'm gonna throw out there for you. Jerry Welsh, he was finalist last year,
go with that.
and then Jim Phelan. There's a
Yep.
freaking award named after the guy for the college basketball coach of the year.
Well, I guess we just for the interest of time, let's just go through the women's really quick.
Sure.
Uh, there's there's two heavyweights who are going to get in right away. Elena Donne,
Hmm.
good, and Candace
Yep.
Parker.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they
Parker,
were my 1-2 on looking at the women's ballot. The 1 and 2.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've got a close three to someone who's been a finalist before, and Lita Andrews who holds the record in high school coaching with 1,416
Yeah, I think
wins.
she's been like a finalist like 5 or 6 times, and just
Believe so. And I've got zero problem with any of these women here. Zero. The only thing, my only minor criticism
Mhm.
is, again, I wish I didn't have to sort of like the one that I was doing a deep dive on because it took me a long time to figure out who it was. There's someone listed as a referee, Betty McClendon.
I see. Sorry on there. Yeah, I didn't actually look into her.
She's fascinating. I want to
Yeah.
find. I'm going to try to reach out to someone who might have known her.
Okay.
She played basketball at Tuskegee Institute in the early
Okay.
50s. Was a coach pretty much all her life doing basketball, track and field. She's here as a referee mainly because she was the first person to ref a men's college game in 1980. So like,
Hmm.
I don't know how that
Interesting.
puts her here and then not.
I
This makes no sense.
yeah.
Like I want to find out more about this woman almost than anybody else here of people I wasn't all that familiar with because she was not on the previous lists.
Sure.
The contributors again.
Actually, there's one player on the women's list I wanted to mention
Oh,
too, which
go ahead.
is Wanda Ford,
Mhm.
who was a college, basically known for a college career because there was no real path for her after college. So she's somebody that earned her spot on this list based on what she did in college, as opposed to having the
Mhm.
WNBA. And the other one is I think it's Tisha Penicheiro.
Yeah.
So pretty much everywhere she went, she played a lot of international games, teams and things like that. She just won everywhere she went,
Mhm.
and it's one thing to kind of be like, on a winning team here and there, but it seemed like she was one of the driving forces behind these winning teams. So kind of interested to see how she comes through on something like this, because I think she has an interesting career and one that probably has some merit to being discussed and enshrined here.
Again, because like we don't have as much time as we want to do this. So,
Yep.
is there anyone that sort of stood out, good or bad, in terms of the contributors or the international?
So the international, I kind of wonder why Mark Gasol and Andre Kirilenko are international when the majority of their um, contributions came through the NBA.
The only thing I can sort of think of is because they did certainly contribute for their respective countries.
They did, yeah,
Uh,
international games, Olympics, things like that, yeah.
but
But
this is a path for a player like that. Tony Kukoc got in this way.
yeah,
Vlade Divac got in this way.
yeah, Paul Gasol was selected as a North American candidate a couple years ago. So
Right,
that's
but
where that's where that
how?
kind of
No, and it's a fair thing. And Evan,
yeah.
if you're watching, and I know he might be, because we had a little fun bet. We had to draft 16 Hall of Famers. One of his
Mhm.
draft picks that he thought would go through internationally
Mhm.
wasn't even nominated.
Oh,
That left, and
that's interesting.
that's a real good one. The first real German star
Mm.
in the NBA.
Yeah.
But he's not here. And I encourage. Now I'm going to be doing that on the site. I'm going to be doing a bio on all of these people as to why
Okay.
they're here. The only person I want to really point out right now, somebody who, if you sort of like take the sum of the parts, Johnny Red Kerr,
Hmm.
a great player. He could get in just as a player. The voice of the Bulls for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's almost a must. But really now this sort of takes us back to, oh dear, the veterans. like you said,
Well, one more thing with regard to the contributors.
yeah, please.
Tal Brody was a finalist last year and did not make it through. So kind of looking at him as a possibility again this year. Again, if momentum is a thing.
Yeah, and another person with just a phenomenal career. Uh,
Yeah.
the women's veterans, I love doing a deep dive on a lot of this. Some of these people, like first time I ever looked at any of this was like a few years ago because they kept popping up on these lists, like the Edmonton commercial grads, and I thought, well, it can't be Edmonton, Alberta. Yeah, it is.
It is.
Uh,
Nashville Business College.
who are actually in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. You know, maybe somebody should do something about a United States Hall of Fame.
That might be a good idea.
I might be. So there's that the Cheney team from 1982 that
Final
they
14.
30 for 30 on, which is
Yeah.
just incredible. I mean, there are some incredible people here. When I look here at the men's side, there's the same thing that keeps popping out to me. The 1936 men's Olympic team, you know, a team that pretty much beat everybody, set the whole thing in motion. But none of them are people that anybody knows. Some of these people I still don't know if I have the right person. So I did like 2 sentences on a guy named Malcolm Brown. It lists him as a player. Well, I can't find a Malcolm Brown that it could possibly be in the NBA. The best thing I could find was an athletic trainer for the University of Providence who made history because he was an African American as their head athletic trainer from 1933 to 39. That's pretty damn impressive considering the sign of the times back then.
The era, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so but he was more of a football player when he was actually an athlete. So he's in the Providence Hall of Fame, but I don't even know if I've got the right person. And so I emailed the Hall of Fame to see if I did. Would you like to know the response?
Sure, I'll wait.
So am I. I'm still waiting.
Veterans for me, the one that stands out, the team, 1972 men's national team. The gold medal that was stolen from them back in Munich there, after they won the game like twice and then had to restart it, for the third time to give the Russians the gold medal. Just baller team there. They didn't even pick up the silvers. The silvers are still sitting in a vault somewhere.
A couple of these other things. I want to give a shout out to our friend. I hope he's still watching some of these. Vinny Lospinuso. Vinny used to do a show with us called Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame Case for, and hopefully he'll do that again. But he was sort of the one who brought my attention to Leroy Edwards, this amazing player at the University of Kentucky who was possibly the best player of the 1930s, if not at the very least the best white player of the 1930s. Somebody actually, I got an email from somebody who's related to this man some time ago, Leo Ferris. I should have reached out back, and I think maybe I'll try to do that. But he founded a couple teams, but it was his idea to come up with the 24-second shot clock. Can you imagine without that?
I actually read something about that. I'm doing research earlier that I think there was two people that came up with it. One's in, one's not.
I think you're talking about like the person who created basketball, because like Lambert Will might have been the originator of basketball, but that's being disputed.
No, I'm going back to my research here, but because it's kind of talking about some of it's the criticisms here, For example, the 21st-century shot clock developers Leo Ferris and Danny Biasone. So Biasone's in, Ferris is not. Yet they're both credited with being the inventors, developers of it.
All right, so there's just so many fascinating people here. So what they do with that though, I don't know, but they're doing virtually nothing to promote that on their own site. What they do in the actual hall, that I don't know. I've never been. So if someone from the basketball hall is watching and says, hey, we actually promote a lot of this on site, apologies. But
get in touch with us.
just a little bio, just something for people to click through, for people like myself. I shouldn't have to be the one to create it.
Yeah, no, if you're watching, you see this, reach out, drop a message down below. We'd love to talk with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear that we're really fun guests too at functions.
Well, we
I've
we
been really
weren't
good.
banned
This is
from
actually fake beer I got going on.
we haven't been banned anywhere yet, so we got that going for us.
I was banned in my 20s in a lot of places, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, there's actually a great player here that the people who I told you a lot of people go against Amari.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a player, the last player listed, Max Zlotski.
Mm-hmm.
He is like a top 5 guy on the Not in Hall of Fame basketball list. First scoring champion of the BAA. The first, really the best player in the first few years of the existence of the game.
Sure.
Forgotten, completely forgotten. One of those few people who really did slip through the cracks, but the people who are following Not in Hall of Fame certainly disagree with that. So it's really fascinating to me just where we'll sort of like come up with a whole lot of these forgotten legends.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything else that we want to sort of like look at here? Just
one more name I want to put out here.
Yeah, please.
He's on the contributor list here.
Hmm?
Curly Neal.
Oh,
everybody knows who Curly Neal is. He was on Scooby-Doo, for crying out loud.
He was my favorite Globetrotter.
He was the shots he made with ease. That people now just you look back at it and just, how is he so good at that? The dribbling, the showmanship, what the Globetrotters did for so many people, the enjoyment they brought. He's one of the most recognizable, most well-known, famous, whatever you want to describe him as. Other Globetrotters are in the Hall of Fame. Curly Neal belongs there. What are you waiting for?
Anchored the team that beat the robots on Gilligan's Island.
That Gilligan's Island, Scooby-Doo, cultural icon.
Oh, for sure.
He could headline your Hall of Fame induction
probably
weekend.
The only one of them who could really act. Man, that guy had personality for days. I remember as a kid, that was my favorite Globetrotter by far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we're so old. We probably remember. We're so old, but yeah, that we remember, like when it's Wide World of Sports, and then like 6 weeks of the Globetrotter game.
Yeah,
General's always lost.
I know, they got close, and then they just couldn't put it away in the end.
I met an actual Washington General in one of my old jobs.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, so I asked the actual question. He says, "Okay, before you ask it, no, we weren't trying to lose."
I believe that.
Yeah.
But I also know that obviously the rules were kind of flexible with some of the things they got to do.
Yes. Yes, like I don't think they were allowed to pull down Curly's pants.
They couldn't, but vice versa, it was allowed.
Yeah. It's like that bit. What, all that money you made on the clown college and you bet against the Globetrotters? I thought the Generals were too. I don't know if I did Krusty the Clown or Corey Feldman. I don't know.
A little bit of A, a little bit of B.
A little bit of A. That. Yeah, so this is just sort of our rant on the Basketball Hall of Fame. And that's sort of what we try to say. Your timing is near perfect. I like Chris's idea, though. Like, I never even thought of that. That's brilliant. Yeah. Open it up on Christmas Day. Take back Christmas Day. The NFL is trying to take it back from you. Luckily for you, they have 2 dead games in the day that aren't that interesting. I'll be watching basketball again during the day instead.
I still think the NFL is going to outdraw them, even with the games on Netflix or wherever they are.
Well, I guarantee they will, because it's just a bigger thing, and then you have Snoop as the halftime show, and that just sort of draws in all the other people who, the people like my wife.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. You know what? They could replay the Prince halftime show from the Super Bowl every halftime show for from now until the end of time, and it would be the best one.
Not up with people, huh?
Hey, bring back the marching band from Super Bowl I.
Paul, literally, the ball is in your court. We're here to help you. Yes, we've judged you, but we're here. We're here. We love you. We want to help support you. And you get me, you get Chris, and you get Winnie. Okay, Winnie's not much of a selling point because she can't do much. But with that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, take care, everybody, because today never comes again. So make it count. Check out everything else that we do here in the Buchnerverse at notinhalloffame.com, the United States Athletic Hall of Fame, www.theUSAHOF.com, and www.notinhalloffame.com. Thank you so much. Take care.
See ya.